Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Here in this video, we are going to be going over everything you need to know on AMC stock. I mean everything in regards to the data and what the situation currently looks like, and also my expectations over the next, coming period of time. February tends to be the second worst month for the S&P 500 historically, and this time around could be no different, maybe, and we'll discuss that here in this video as well. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think about all of this information down below in the comment section. So first things first, AMC stock sitting at multi-year lows. You hit a new multi-year low on Friday when the stock hit $3.93 per share. Yeah, it's been rough. Now, AMC stock has been trading around these levels for quite a long period of time. And the reason for that is simple, right? AMC is probably the easiest short out there on the markets because AMC, obviously, 2024 is not going to be a great year for the box office. We kind of already know that. But also, when you have a company issuing so many shares just over and over and over and over again, it becomes quite predictable to say, well, likely AMC is going to issue more stock. Now, at this point, they can't. You and I know this. There is a limit to what AMC can do. They know this as well. As much as Adam Aron wants to pass the blame on to a weak box office, the reason why AMC is $4 per share, it all comes down to dilution. I think they know that. They just don't necessarily want to admit that. And the reason why AMC cannot dilute his shareholders, because let's say on Monday they come out, they want to issue 40 million more shares. They have about 300 million, 280 million or so that they can still issue. But if they came out and they said that AMC stock is going to drop to about $3.60 per share, I would imagine. And that's likely where they would actually be able to sell the stock and to raise the capital, roughly in that range. Times that by, 40 million, you're looking at pennies compared to the amount of debt they have to issue in order to make a dent in their overall debt. So they would issue about 40 million shares at $3.60-ish per share. That would be $144 million worth of new capital that they could get their hands on. Again, that just doesn't move the needle. And by then, AMC stock's probably going to be trading down into the low threes, if not the high twos. That's not a situation Adam Aron and the executives at AMC want to be in. So I do think over the next couple of months, you likely do get a commitment to not diluting shareholders. It's really the only card that AMC can pull at this point. They don't want to not dilute you, right? They want to be able to sell stock. If AMC stock was in a place where they could, like, let's say $8 per share or $10 per share, then they would absolutely do that. But right now, they just simply can't do that. So I do think when Adam Aron gives us that commitment that, we're not going to see any more dilution, that's when AMC stock likely starts to perform very, very well. But until then, I don't know. It's definitely on the trickier side. Now, even consider historically, February is the second worst month of any given year. For February, you're only your average is a decline of about 0.1%. And if that's the average for the S&P, which typically averages around 8 to 9% a year, including dividends, that's a pretty rough month. Now, the other worst months are June and September, September being the worst month out of them all. So February, not really set up in a great spot. Last year in 2023 in February, S&P fell about 2.6%. If you do get weakness here, AMC stock could fall even further. That would be obviously an even worse situation, but no guarantees there. We'll have to wait and see what ultimately does shake out. Now, as far as the situation currently with AMC stock, let's take a look at StockTwits here first, because I think this is important to consider just how people are feeling about AMC, what kind of activity is happening around AMC. Again, I expect sentiment interest, all of that will jump when we do get a commitment to not diluting shareholders. But I don't know when that's going to happen nonetheless. Now, sentiment currently is bearish at 4 out of 100. So 4 out of 100 is very bad. Yesterday, you were bullish at 58. The sentiment on AMC stock changes day by day by day. If you look at the message volume is here at 79, which yesterday was 51. So more message volume today. That's generally a pretty good thing. You want to see as much message volume as possible, because that's going to say more people are interested in AMC. Participation ratio has been lower, but it's still on the low side at 43, which is ultimately a very important metric as well. You want to see that participation ratio as high as possible. That means, the higher the ratio, the more individual people are talking about AMC. But still, it's not that bad and definitely could be a whole lot worse. Now, the broader picture of what's going on in our markets, right? We just got a very hot jobs report. We're going to talk about this a little bit more in the next video, but there is a chance that we do not even see a rate cut at all in 2024. The markets are not set up for that. That would cause a lot more downside from here. But even in the meantime, the average stock is getting destroyed. If you take a look at the percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average, that is down about 7.5%. On Friday, down to 52.68%. You hit the high of about 86% on December 28th. So literally, your average stock is not doing well in this market. And that's just a simple fact. If Meta and Amazon had bad earnings, then I think the markets would have been very red on Friday. That was indeed the opposite, and stocks did well overall. So, a little bit of a weird situation that we are in, that's for sure. But the economy being this strong and inflation potentially being on the stickier side is quite the problem for the Fed, thus probably not going to get rate cuts at least anytime soon. I think we can say that with a definitive. If we take a look at the Ortex data, we did see quite a bit of bullish activity on Friday. 71.05% of volume was to the call side, and 28.95% of volume was to the put side. If you take a look at the interesting flow sentiment, you did have 6 orders totaling $311.23 thousand on Friday, with a positive order value of 46%. Over the past week, things were a little bit more on the positive side, with 19 orders totaling $1.48 million and a positive order value of 74%. So that weekly number definitely looks a lot better. But I mean, we'll see. AMC stock really hasn't been doing much of anything, even though you are seeing some positive inflows overall. And open interest last week definitely skewed towards the call side as well. 74% calls and about 26% put. So also looks pretty good there. But, again, can't draw really any definitive conclusions. If we take a look here at the short interest percentage of free float, that is at 11.13%. $113.2 million currently worth of short positions in AMC. 1.5 days to cover. 27.88 million shares currently sold short. 28 million shares currently out on loan. 1.13% cost to borrow. 42% utilization, and 61.11% 61.11 for the short score out of 100. So starting to rise there as well as the short interest is rising. And I expect the short interest probably going to end up rising to about 20% here over the next, month or two, the next period of time. Cost to borrow max at about 1.9%, which is definitely on the low side as well. If we take a look at the Stock O tracker data, let's go ahead and refresh this. Yeah, definitely last week, a lot more call activity, but a lot of calls expired out the money. You had about 8,000 calls expire in the money and 79,000 calls expire out the money. In the money puts at 9,300. Out the money puts at about 21,000. So yeah, definitely a lot of bullish option activity, but just AMC cannot catch a break. The average stock really just cannot catch a break. Now, a big story on Friday as well is the massive rise we've seen in 10-year treasury yields, up about 16 basis points. Again, on this logic that you're probably not going to see cuts from the Fed for a while. And keep in mind, the Fed actually held steady from 2006 through 2008 until everything kind of came crumbling down and they were forced to cut. The Fed did not change Fed funds rates at 5.25% for about a year and a half. And if that were to, kind of be the case again, stocks are not priced for that. Markets have gotten head over their heels for rate cuts, currently pricing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rate cuts with 38.1% odds. So that's going to be a bit of a problem if, we ultimately don't even get close to that. I think we'll know more by May, and I think that could be a larger potential correction period. It obviously comes down to what's happening with inflation, what's going on in the economy by then. Now, if we take a look at 10 and 2-year yield curve inversions, you're inverted about 33 basis points as of right now. I would say overall that's pretty good news. Market's still not even, looking forward to the first cut at all. When you start to see that uninvert, that's probably when we're getting actually closer to a cut itself. Now, if you take a look at the sentiment, 49.1% bullish, 26.4% neutral, and 24.5% to the bearish side. So definitely seeing a lot of bulls here in this market. And that's a little scary as well, because when everyone is bullish, that's usually not a good time to be bullish as well. You never know. Maybe it's for the right reasons people are bullish right now, but usually it's a wrong conclusion to just jump on the bullish train when everyone else is also bullish. Now, good and bad news, AMC stock is oversold. It's been in the floors, in the dumps for a while. That's bad news. Good news is you're oversold and you've been in the dumps for a while. So if you're looking forward to a potential rally in AMC stock, well, the fact that you've been this oversold for so long, is leading to the potential for a massive turnaround, a massive U-turn at some point down the line. So yeah, definitely something to consider nonetheless. Now, again, that low was at $3.93 per share. If you do get bad news from here, you're going to, you're going in the $2 range, right? You're going into the freaking toilet if you get bad news from here. And that's just going to make it harder for AMC stock to rise or go through a MOAS-like event when the time does ultimately come. The MACD, though, on one hand, has started to actually turn a little bit on the positive side, so maybe starting to see a little bit better of inflows. After all, the RSI has started to rise from its low levels of about 17, 18 up to where it is today at 27.68, but you really haven't seen much of a bounce at all. You've really, if anything, started to see a bottoming effect, which can be good news, but really depends on what happens in the broader markets from here. Next week is all really going to be about earnings. You're going to have quite a few good earnings, as far as maybe not good earnings, but companies people definitely pay attention to. Caterpillar, McDonald's, Estee Lauder, On Semi, Monday pre-market, Palantir, among other names. Monday and after hours, Eli Lilly, Spotify, Hertz, BP, Toyota. Tuesday pre-market, Snap, Enphase, Ford, Chipotle, Elf in after hours. Wednesday pre-market, Alibaba, Uber, CBS Health, Roblox, XPO Logistics, and Wednesday and after hours, PayPal, Disney, ARM, Win. Thursday pre-market, not too many notable names, but Affirm, Pinterest, Cloudflare, Expedia in after hours, and then on Friday, Pepsi, Canopy, AMC Networks, not AMC Entertainment. But nonetheless, quite a few interesting names. I do think On Semi could be an interesting one. Monday pre-market, and then obviously Snap, Enphase, Ford, Chipotle, Elf, PayPal, Disney, ARM, Win, Alibaba, Uber, Roblox, Affirm, Pinterest, Cloudflare. These are all going to be names maybe I want to look at potentially trading, but can have a broader impact on the market. So nonetheless, let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.